When you enter a project and it loses, or you buy something and it turns out to be faulty, you start trying to get rid of it. And when you actually manage to get rid of it, you can go back to living normally. Yes, you might be affected for a few days, but after that, everything returns to normal. Your feelings of suffocation and sadness gradually fade away, and you start focusing on other things. This happens with material things and sometimes in relationships, but it's very hard to imagine it happening with your child. Your child whom you've loved more than anyone else in the world. Your child for whom you tried to provide everything. And then suddenly you discover that something is wrong, something that can't be fixed, something that can't be healed, something that, if left alone, could lead to massive destruction, not just for you, but for the entire world. Hi everyone, welcome to our channel. This new episode inspired by something that, honestly, when I first heard about it, I couldn't believe it was happening. But when I saw the reports with my own eyes, I was terrified. It wasn't easy, as it required presenting the idea without revealing certain details. This story is difficult, not easy. Let's continue because the topic isn't simple. Let's go. Don't forget to subscribe and tell me in the comments what's your opinion in this story. I am Adam. I graduated from college and I worked at a bank. I was successful, but I always hated this life. The traditional suit, tie, and the chair I sat on from morning till evening every day, just to eat, sleep, and repeat the same routine all over again. I needed a change in my life, and I decided to learn photography. From the moment I held the camera, I felt a passion. This is what I wanted to do. I continued my job and started learning photography professionally. It was something small, but at that point, I decided to quit my bank job and focus entirely on photography. My work grew, and I ended up with a large team helping me. Among that team was Emma. Emma was 5 years younger than me, but I felt like her mind was older than mine. She knew how to think differently and always had energy and love for everyone around her. That's what made me fall for her, step by step. We fell in love, and I decided to marry her. Our life was very good, but we don't get everything. Emma and I spent 5 years without children, and when we decided to have a child, we discovered that both of us had issues preventing us from conceiving. These issues could be resolved, but it would likely take a long time. Her energy was drained, and in the face of her condition, I felt helpless. I didn't know how to help her or what to do. None of the solutions I thought of worked until one day, I said to her that I had a suggestion. What do you think about adopting a child? The shelters and orphanages are full of children who definitely need families. What's the problem? Well, Adam, honestly, we'd have to get a very young child, just born, and I don't think that's available or easy. Let's try. Maybe it'll work. Well, let's drop the topic for now and not stress ourselves. There's definitely a solution. One time when I was asleep, Emma come to me and she said, Adam, what's wrong? Why are you waking me up like this? I found the solution. What solution? I found out where we can get the baby. Are you joking? Is this the time? Listen to me, don't be stubborn. Speak, my dear. Speak. I found a page on Facebook called Baby Box. They say they have children as young as 1 day old. I contacted them, and I got an appointment for tonight at 8 p.m. Okay, do we need any papers or anything to bring with us? The person who replied to me didn't say anything about papers. Let's go and see what they need, and we'll bring everything later. You look happy. Didn't I tell you it would be resolved? I don't know why, but I have a lot of hope in this page. They've posted many reviews from people who adopted children with them and are very happy. When we arrived to the address, I asked Emma, and I said, "Are you sure this is the place?" Yes, the girl sent me the address in detail. I'm afraid it might be a scam or an organ trafficking ring or something. But let's not be pessimistic. Don't worry, let's go, Emma. Let's go. The place was very strange to me. A normal villa with no signs of being an institution, company, or anything. There was no signboard or name, just the villa number. What does that even mean? And how are their conditions easier? How do they even operate? Everything was strange, and I can't deny that I was scared and hesitant to enter. But Emma didn't give me time to think. The gate was open, and the place looked abandoned. She went ahead of me and entered. As soon as I followed her in, I saw a suspicious-looking man coming out of the main villa building, smiling and welcoming us. "Welcome, Mrs. Emma, right? Mr. Kamal?" "Yes, sir. The secretary informed me of your appointment today. And you must be Adam, her husband?" "Yes, sir. Mr. Please, before we start any procedures, let me talk to you and explain our idea and the nature of our institution. We have a lot of questions." "Don't worry, ma'am. All your questions will be answered in the slideshow I'm about to show you. Our humble project is that we provide the children who come to us with the care and attention they need. We also provide them with families and homes capable of taking care of them and giving them excellent care. Do you have any questions?" "Okay, so are the children available? Can I choose from them?" "Of course, sir, madam. The children are available, and you can choose the child you feel a maternal connection with. Our main priority is to provide these children with a safe environment and a loving family. All the children are newborns. Yes, indeed, our work is a bit different from orphanages and shelters. The children who come to us are usually handed over within the first few hours of birth, and of course, we have a neonatologist who receives the child and provides the necessary health care. They take all the medical measures to ensure the child is in good condition. Okay, what are the procedures required from us? What documents do you need? Actually, sir, madam, the process doesn't require any documents or complicated procedures. The whole matter is that the father and mother sign a declaration stating that they will not return the child to the institution. The child is then registered under the parents' names, and they pledge to care for the child and provide all the financial and emotional support needed, as if the child were their biological one. Of course, there's a symbolic amount that is deposited into the institution's account as a contribution from you to help us serve more children who come to us and provide them with the care they need. How much is the amount?" "Only $500,000, sir, madam." "Okay," Emma said. "Can we see the children now?" I answered to her, "Today is not the right time. We'll definitely come back another time, sir. It's late and the children are surely asleep. We don't want to disturb them." Mr. Adam is right. It's already 9:45 p.m., which means the caregivers have already started putting the children to sleep about an hour and 15 minutes ago. We have a sleep system that we implement from the child's first day with us. This is so the children get used to sleeping at night, and when the mother takes the child home, they won't have trouble sleeping or staying up. We'll definitely contact you again to go over the procedures and start them at any time. Sir, madam, we're at your service. Emma said to me, "Can I understand why you're acting like this? Ever since we left the institution, you haven't been talking. Even when I asked you what you thought and whether we should proceed, you didn't respond. What's bothering you now?" "I'm not upset or anything, Emma. I'm just thinking." "Thinking about what? Are you comfortable?" "Yes, I'm comfortable. For me, this opportunity has come to us. Please, let's take advantage of it." "Please, Adam, we've been trying for years and the treatment hasn't worked. Let's try this time." "Okay," I agreed and I said, "Let's try." Finally, we received the baby, and the moment I held him in my arms, he cried. I hugged him and I cried too. It was the first time I felt those emotions. Emma also looked at me crying. Everyone at the institution congratulated us. We signed the declaration, paid the money, took the boy, and went home. Emma had prepared everything, and since we didn't know if it was a boy or a girl, she had everything in white. The room was beautiful, full of energy and love, just like Emma. Every day I felt like she was returning more to her old self. Emma, full of love. We named him Sam. The first year was very tough, but also enjoyable. We were truly happy. On her second birthday, Emma made the strangest request, one I wasn't expecting. "Adam, my love, I want to say something to you. It's a small request, really. Just tell me what you want. I want to get Sam a brother or sister." "What? How? What's wrong, Adam? Just like we got Sam." "Emma, have you lost your mind? You wanted a child and now we have one. Isn't that enough? We can't keep doing this." "For me, Adam, I swear I won't repeat this request. Just one more, a boy or a girl, and that's it. I swear you'll never hear me bring this up again." "Okay, Emma, let me think." "You're teasing me. I've already started making arrangements. Just like last time. We'll do it again." I agreed to Emma's request, and just like before, we decided. We did it again, but this time the institution's fees had increased from 50 to 75. But that didn't matter. What mattered was that I had become the father of the most beautiful girl in the world. We named her Mia. From her first day at home, I felt like everything in my life had become more beautiful. Even my appearance, I swear I looked better. Mia was very attached to me and wouldn't calm down unless I was with her. I too was deeply attached to her. I was willing to delay or even cancel anything just to be with her at home. I won't deny that Sam was affected a bit, like all children, but honestly, Emma made a tremendous effort to ensure he didn't feel jealous of his sister or get upset by her presence. We tried to make him love her in every way possible. Dealing with Mia was much easier than dealing with Sam, or maybe we had just gained more experience, and nothing was new to us anymore. The kids were growing up before our eyes, and we were happy with our little family. But before we could celebrate Mia's first birthday, we found out that the institution had been shut down. Not only that, but everyone working there had been arrested. It turned out they were indeed taking children whose parents didn't want them, either abandoning them or selling them to the institution. The scandal was huge and became a trending topic on all channels. It was revealed that the amounts paid were in exchange for the children. The institution was closed, and when the documents were inspected, they were all burned, making it impossible to retrieve any data about the children or the families who had dealt with the institution. Emma and I were terrified because we were scared our children might be taken away from us. We truly loved them, and just because we weren't their biological parents didn't mean we loved them any less. They were our children by right, and we genuinely cared for them. We didn't feel at ease until we found out the case had been closed, and everyone involved, the doctor and the secretary, had been sentenced. The sentences were lenient because all the evidence in the documents had been burned, and only witness testimonies, surveillance, and investigations remained. The whole ordeal took a few months, but it finally calmed down, and we were able to return to our lives. When Sam turned 4, we were very excited because he could finally start school. Our financial situation was good. The most important thing for us was our children's education and the environment around them. Not only that, but Sam also started going to soccer practice, and Yumna never missed anything for him. Our days were full of activities, not just because we wanted the best for him, but also because we started noticing strange behaviors in him, unexplained violence. We understood that he might be jealous of his sister, which is natural at his age. All our friends and relatives had gone through the same phase, but their situations never escalated to the point of causing lasting harm or even death. Sam started behaving violently toward his sister in noticeable ways. Mia was 2 years old, walking well, and starting to speak clearly, expressing herself, not perfectly, but we understood her. Sam would deliberately make her fall, especially if she was holding a cup, fork, or toy, not just to make her fall, but also to hurt her. Many times Emma and I had to rush to catch Sam, but she still fell and got hurt often. Not only that, but he would also break her toys or throw them on the stove while it was on, as if he wanted to take revenge on her. Over time, Mia became afraid of him. If she walked past him while he was sitting, she would look back to make sure he wasn't going to do anything to her. If she wanted to play, she would go play near Emma or me to ensure Sam wouldn't break or burn her toys. Yes, Sam burned many of Mia's toys. As they grew older, Sam's behavior became even worse. It wasn't just childish jealousy anymore. During this time, Mia ended up in the hospital more than once. The first time was when Sam overheard Emma talking to her sister on the phone about Mia having an allergy to coconut oil. Not even half an hour later, Emma heard Mia screaming at the top of her lungs. Her face was swollen, and her features were barely visible. When Emma asked her what happened, Mia said Sam had forced her to put the new oil in her hair. Of course, it was coconut oil. Emma rushed her to the hospital where they performed many procedures to save her. They told Emma that if they had been any later, Mia could have suffered permanent health issues. The second time, Sam sprayed pepper spray on Mia's underwear. Mia had severe skin problems and couldn't move, sit, or sleep for days. She cried constantly. Then there was the time he pushed her to the ground, sat on her, and shoved a small pencil up her nose. We only found out by accident when we heard her struggling to breathe. The harm Sam inflicted on his sister didn't stop there. If he knew Mia liked a particular piece of clothing, he would cut it or burn it. No matter how much we tried to keep scissors or matches away from him, he always found a new way to ruin her clothes. Not just her clothes. Sam once went into Mia's room while she was sleeping and cut off all her hair. She was devastated and crying, and we didn't know what to do or how to calm her down. We were shocked and couldn't believe what was happening. Every time we talked to him, he would say he loved her and was just joking, not meaning to hurt her. We would take away his privileges, like soccer practice or his allowance, but it never made a difference. He always claimed he was just playing and didn't mean to upset her. By the time Yaman was 8, all the love we had for him had turned into rejection and frustration. I can't say we started to hate him, but we were definitely not happy with what he was doing to his sister. Sam's issues didn't stop there. His school started calling us almost every month to meet with a counselor. At first, we thought it was a routine procedure for all parents, but we realized it wasn't the same for Mia, who was in the same school. We tried to understand why it was happening, specifically with Sam, until we found out he was telling the teachers that Emma and I beat him every day. He even showed them real injuries on his arms and legs, but those injuries were from his own reckless behavior. He would fall and hurt himself a lot, like any child. The difference was that Sam had convinced all the teachers that we were mistreating him and favoring his sister, even though that never happened. We knew the impact of physical punishment on a child's psyche, so we never hit him, not even in the worst moments. One day my sister called to invite us to her new house. It was a small house with a garden, and my sister had just bought it. The garden needed a lot of work, so she asked us to stay inside to make sure none of the kids got hurt. My sister is an agricultural engineer and knows a lot about plants. She has a baby girl named Sophia, who's just a month old. Sam expressed interest in looking at the garden, and my sister said, "Come on, let's take a walk." Sam was curious to learn more about the garden and started asking my sister about the plants in it. She began explaining the different types of plants and flowers, including a small green plant called nettle. She warned him that it was a dangerous plant and that he shouldn't touch it with his hands or let it touch his skin because it could cause severe irritation and pain. Unfortunately, at that moment, my sister received a phone call and left Sam standing alone in the garden. After a while, we all went back inside to have lunch, and Sam went to play in Sophia's room. But shortly after, we heard Sophia, the 1-month-old baby, screaming. When my sister rushed to check on her, she found Sophia's face and hands bright red and swollen. The baby was screaming uncontrollably. She immediately took Sophia to the hospital, leaving the rest of us at home. We were all sitting there, terrified, except for Sam. He was casually playing with phone, completely indifferent. Suddenly my phone rang. It was my sister. "Lena, my dear, please tell me she's okay. The baby has a severe allergic reaction. Her whole body is covered in rashes, not just her face and hands. It's horrible. It's beyond words." "What did the doctor say? What caused it?" The doctor didn't even need to explain. Her clothes were full of nettle leaves. Nettle? The same plant I told Sam not to touch because it causes severe irritation and pain. The doctors barely saved her in time. If I hadn't noticed the nettle leaves, she could have died. Your son did this. I hung up the phone after apologizing profusely to Lena. I didn't know what to do. I called Sam over and asked him if he had done it. He admitted it, but what terrified me was his reason. He said he did it because he wanted to hear the baby scream in pain. He thought it would sound really nice. Emma and I looked at each other, speechless. The situation was far worse than anything we had imagined. We waited for Lena and her husband to return. By the time they got back, it was late, and the kids were asleep. Lena looked exhausted, angry, and heartbroken. I couldn't blame her. "I'm so sorry for what happened. I don't even know what to say." "Don't say anything, Adam. Nothing can make this better. I'll have him apologize to you tomorrow." "Lena, I don't want an apology. I don't want anything from him. Honestly, I don't want him near my house or my children ever again. I don't want him near my family." "Lena, he's just a child." "I'm sorry, Adam. This is over for me and my husband. I won't risk my baby's safety. All I can say is, please keep an eye on Mia and keep her away from him." Lena was the first to cut ties with us, but she wasn't the last. Unfortunately, Sam's behavior caused all our relatives and Emma's family to gradually distance themselves from us. We became certain that his actions weren't just normal childhood mischief. Yes, kids fight and do wrong things, but Sam's actions were consistently harmful and intentional. He enjoyed hurting others, and even Emma and I weren't spared. He started breaking our belongings, throwing them in water, or tossing them into the street. By this time, Sam was 9 years old enough to know right from wrong, yet every action seemed calculated and deliberate. I suggested to Emma that we take him to a psychologist. She had reached her limit with him and agreed. This was the final straw. The psychologist's diagnosis was far from comforting. He told us that Sam's case was severe and that there was little hope for improvement. Yaman had conduct disorder and traits of emotional detachment and cruelty, making him a psychopath. A psychopath, the doctor explained, lacks empathy, has no conscience, and feels no guilt or remorse. They are aggressive, violent, and indifferent to punishment. They harm others not for a goal, but simply for enjoyment. They are skilled at manipulation, lying, and deceiving those around them, with a strange ability to persuade others. The doctor assured us that this was a rare condition, but not unheard of. We sought second, third, and fourth opinions, but all the psychologists confirmed the same diagnosis. None of them had a solution. They offered temporary fixes, but none could guarantee that Yaman would comply with lifelong medication or agree to stay in a psychiatric facility. I didn't know what to do. Sam's condition was worsening, and the harm he caused was escalating. His problems at school grew. He had no friends. Mia was terrified of him and would lock herself in her room to avoid him. Our friends and even our siblings cut ties with us. I was at a loss. I talked to Emma extensively, but she had no solutions either. There was only one thing left to do, and I had to be the one to do it. I couldn't involve anyone else or share what I was thinking. I told Emma we needed to travel because I was exhausted and suffocated by everything here. She didn't object, and we agreed to move to a new place. We packed our bags, prepared our passports, and bought plane tickets. But instead of 4 tickets, I bought 3. On the day of the trip, I told Emma to take Mia and go to the airport while I stayed behind with Sam, claiming a friend was coming to pick up some things. Sam wasn't convinced and insisted we all go together. Her heart seemed to sense something, but I convinced her, saying I had a surprise for her. After Emma left, I gave Sam a glass of juice laced with a sedative. He drank it and fell asleep. That's when I did what I had been planning all along. I decided to forget him in the house. I wasn't just freeing myself from his evil. I was freeing the world from a potential psychopath, a criminal who would have killed countless people and caused untold suffering to families. A criminal who could only be cured by death. I left the house quickly and went to the airport. Emma kept asking me where Sam was. She wanted to know why he wasn't with me, but I refused to answer. She refused to board the plane, demanding to go back and get Sam or stay with him. I finally snapped and shouted at her, "I'm done with him!" Emma, who had been screaming and crying, suddenly fell silent. She sat down and cried silently. I don't know if she was crying for him, for me, or because she finally felt the weight lifted off her shoulders. We boarded the plane, and her tears were tears of relief. I don't know how the fire was turned in the our house. Maybe Sam turned on the gas, but the house was completely charred. But the firefighters managed to pull out a child whose face and body were mostly covered in burns. The news confirmed that the child's parents had traveled, and no one knew whether they had intentionally left him behind or simply forgotten him. But there was no concrete evidence, just theories. No one could reach us. Emma and I deactivated all our social media accounts, and no one had our phone numbers. My family and Emma's family started reaching out to us through Mia's WhatsApp account, wanting to know if we were alive or if we had died in the fire. No one had heard from us in months, ever since everyone had cut ties with us. Mia's WhatsApp was the only means of communication with her family. From them, we learned that the police had contacted them to see if anyone would take custody of the boy, but everyone refused. No one was willing to take him because they were afraid of him, afraid of who he was, and afraid of his disfigured appearance after the burns. I couldn't blame any of them. No one could bear such a responsibility, especially since they all knew Sam too well. Now I live in peace with Mia and Emma. Mia has improved significantly. She never asks about Sam, as if she's relieved to be free of him. Emma gradually is trying to come to terms with Sam's absence. One day she'll be able to move on. None of us talk about him. We're all trying to live in peace. But I can't get over the fact that he's still out there, still capable of having more victims. I can't go back, I can't do anything, and I can't protect anyone from him. I try to forget him and not think about him, but I don't know if I'll ever be able to move on. One thing I'm sure of, though, is that I will never forget him, not until the last day of my life. And that's it. The story ends here.